In my last video, I was talking about people on this earth serving mammon. I started with this picture of Agenda 2030 and how the sin of Sodom was not sustaining the poor and the needy. The people in these councils that are running all these Agenda 2030 things, they're run by greed and they serve the pagan god Mammon, meaning they serve wealth above our Father. I was talking about the latter picture when I got sidetracked. The top fruit that we should be adding on here is charity, but the word for charity is agape love, as I discussed in the last video, and that typically refers to divine love, what God prefers. From my study, I believe this is doing His will every day. I have a video on praying the Lord's Prayer daily, asking for His will to be yours and your will to be His. We should be doing this every day, so we put Him first above all else. So, this is the state of the world. There are plenty of people who are hungry and sick. The people who could help are not, and instead they are intentionally making people sick and starving them. You might say the U.S. has lots of food, but many families go hungry. But that's not all. The food in the U.S. it's mostly GMO. It's pretty much near impossible to not eat something that's genetically modified or ruined with chemicals. Watch my video, We Are Poisoning Ourselves, the Real Reason Why Humanity is Going Insane. It's a snippet from Mike Adams. And the elite are radiating our foods, and we don't get the normal nutrients out of them. People use their microwaves all the time. I gave it up last summer. When you eat, nothing is as nutritious as our Father intended. You may think that you're not starving, but your body is starving for real nutrients instead of modified and lab vitamins added back in. It's illegal for us to have raw milk. The Amish can, but it's illegal for them to sell it to us. But I bet even they're chemtrailed, and what goes up must come down, and then we eat it. The people of Sodom would give poor people money, and then they would starve them to death. Essentially, it's what's going on right now. I prayed to be shown something I needed to see in the Bible and flipped to Isaiah this morning. Our Father can speak to us from the Bible when we listen to the Holy Spirit in this way. I came across Isaiah 10, and the first part starts out with, "Woe to anyone doing what I was just discussing." Isaiah 10:1, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And what will ye do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will ye flee for help, and where will ye leave your glory? Without me they shall bow down under the prisoners, and they shall fall under the slain. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand stretched out still. O Assyrian, the rod of mine anger and the staff in their hand is mine indignation. I will send him against an hypocritical nation, and against the people of my wrath will I give him a charge to take the spoil, and to take the prey, and to tread down like the mire of the streets, to tread them down like the mire of the streets. Howbeit he meaneth not so, neither doth his heart think so, but it is in his heart to destroy and cut off nations, not a few. For he saith, Are not my princes altogether kings? Is not Calno as Carchemish? Is not Hamath as Arpad? Is not Samaria as Damascus? As my hand hath found the kingdoms of the idols, and whose graven images did excel them of Jerusalem and of Samaria, shall I not, as I have done unto Samaria and her idols, so do to Jerusalem and her idols? Wherefore it shall come to pass, that when the Lord hath performed his whole work upon Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, I will punish the fruit of the stout heart of the king of Assyria, and the glory of his high looks. For he saith, By the strength of my own hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. And my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathereth eggs that are left have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing, or opened the mouth, or peeped. Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith, or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it, as if the rod should shake itself against them that lift it up, or as if the staff should lift up itself, as if it were no wood? I like this last verse. As I pointed out in my video yesterday, our Father is the one fathering all the nations together. He's gathering all the nations together and creating this new world order. He's putting it into their hearts to do this as a punishment. He's sending people a strong delusion to believe the lie that is coming. The men will think they are doing it themselves, like verse 13 said, for he saith, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent. And I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. But our Father is in control. He compares these men to the axe, the saw, the rod, or staff. They are nothing without someone to wield them. Verse 15 again, shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith, or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it, as if the rod should shake itself against them that lift it up, or as if the staff should lift up itself, as if it were no wood? Therefore shall the Lord Yahweh of hosts send among his fat ones leanness, and under his glory he shall kindle a burning like the burning of a fire, and the light of Israel shall be for a fire, and his Holy One for a flame. And it shall burn and devour his thorns and his briars in one day, and shall consume the glory of his forest and of his fruitful field, both soul and body. And they shall be as when a standard bearer fainteth. And the rest of the trees of his forest shall be few, that a child may write them. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty God. For though thy people Israel to be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. The consummation decreed shall overflow with righteousness. For the Lord Yahweh of hosts shall make a consumption, even determined, in the midst of all the land. Skipping down to chapter 11 concerning Jesus. I just mentioned in my last video that Jesus is the vine. If we produce fruit, we stay connected to him, and if we don't, our Father takes us off and throws those not connected to Jesus off the vine and into the fire. The Old Testament is full of the glory of Jesus and what he has done and what he will do. One day the Israelites will turn to these verses in the Torah and understand. Isaiah 11:1. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of Yahweh shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of Yahweh. And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of Yahweh. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears. But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. And the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. And the suckling child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Yahweh, as the waters cover the sea. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west. They shall spoil them of the east together. They shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. And Yahweh shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea. And with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall smite it in the 7 streams, and make men go over dryshod. And there shall be an highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that he came up out of the land of Egypt. And in that day thou shalt say, O Yahweh, I will praise thee. Though thou wast angry with me, thine anger is turned away, and thou comfortest me. Behold, God is my salvation. I will trust, and not be afraid. For Yahweh is my strength and my song. He has also become my salvation. This would probably be an interesting study into those words there. They are both proper names for God, the Father, but perhaps this is actually like saying Yahushua, Jesus, is their strength and has become their salvation. Yahushua means Yahweh saves. Jesus, Yahushua, has Yah in his namesake. But that's just a theory, not a teaching. Isaiah 12:3. Therefore with joy shall ye draw water out of the wells of salvation, and in that day shall ye say, Praise Yahweh. Call upon his name, declare his doings among the people, make mention that his name is exalted. Sing unto Yahweh, for he hath done excellent things, that is known in all the earth. Cry out and shout, thou inhabitant of Zion, for great is the Holy One of Israel in the midst of thee. And then it goes into punishing Babylon. I just love reading verses like these in the Old Testament showing Jesus' glory, hoping someday someone who believes the Torah but doesn't believe in Jesus will see it too. I hope you enjoyed this and have a blessed day.